Yes, thank you so much, Daniel, for such wonderful introduction. But I mean, many more could be said about Daniel himself. He has really helped make this happen. But I'll not, I'll go into that because of it's my talk. Yes, but there's a lot to say about him. So today I'm going to talk about the Python side of Vim. How many people use Vim in here? Vim, okay. Wow, so we have some fellows. How many people are on the Emacs side of things? Oh, okay. So you're outnumbered. So today we are going to look at Vim from a different angle, from a different perspective. And before I go into that, I'm going to talk about who am I. I happen to lead a very wonderful team of people, very dynamic and friendly community of people in Ghana here who are helping out with the Python community. And honestly, it's much about the team that makes these things happen. I also am on the grants committee for the Python, for the PSF. Yes, and my boss here is, yes, Miss Eva. Yes, so we have some good time. And Lorena, yes, so we really have a good time. I'm also the founder and CTO of 2Pi Real Intelligence. It's my startup. We built a framework, and we're trying to see how we could change things with the way we do work. I also, like Daniel said, I am a pioneer of space and satellite technology in Ghana. So I helped my team with GhanaSat-1 satellite in orbit. Thank you. So, yeah, that's my Twitter. I don't really have a social life. My life is very boring. You understand why very soon. So, but I mean, if you ask me anything on Twitter, I would really respond. So my talk here, we are going to look at what typing is versus playing. You understand what I mean by playing very soon. Then we'll look at the 4 sides of Vim. That's the editing, navigation, formatting, automation. We'll also look at Python and Vim. We'll look at just a small case study. Now we'll look at a tool called Altisnips. Yeah, so typing versus playing. How many people play the keyboard? Okay. How many people type? Okay, when I asked the first question, I was expecting everybody to raise their hands because once you have a keyboard in front of you on the computer, you are playing the keyboard. But it's just that you are doing a different kind of art. It's not music. It's this time coding. So this is the first keyboard we are going to look at. And I want you to really take a very good look at this picture because I may ask some questions about this. Actually, my keyboard, my development keyboard. Then this is the second type of keyboard. But there are very, very similar things between these 2 keyboards. Okay, so let's do some factorization of the similarities between the musical keyboard and your computer keyboard. The first is the device. How many people know what this is? Okay, if you were a millennial, you may not really know what this is. It's what we used in those days. It's called a typewriter. Yes, it's a very powerful tool. Yes. Then the actual device we use to actually type our code or whatever is actually a typewriter. So our keyboard on a computer is more of a smart typewriter. So the similarity between your computer and the musical instrument first is art. So coding or typing is more like an art than just a chore, right? So you have to be creative, you have to be innovative with the way you play your keyboard, like if it's a musical instrument. It's not how much you pound on the keys that really makes a good music, but it's the way you pound on the keys. So when we look at this part of art, we're looking at creativity. And when you look at creativity, you need some level of skill to be a bit creative. Creativity in itself is like a skill. Then the second thing between a keyboard on the musical instrument and the keyboard on your machine is you need to do a lot of practice. So you need to practice typing. And I've really seen people using almost literally one finger to type, while they have 10, right? So it's about practice. And like I said, practice makes perfect. So the way you practice also influences your productivity. Then when you finish, let's say you are playing a musical keyboard, you are playing with the intention of creating a piece. Now we can have two pieces. It could be a masterpiece, or it could just be another piece. So you may, how you want to really create a masterpiece. And to get a masterpiece, you really need to know your craft and your instruments or your devices. So let's look at the 4 sides of editing with Vim. Now, how many people have laptops? Laptops, okay. We're going to do a little bit of a challenge. I love doing this part when I was lecturing. I'll ask my students, okay, bring out your PC, and then we'll do a little bit of a challenge. So, let's see. I am going to have my terminal up. Okay. Okay, so let's see. All right, so this is a copy and paste challenge. Sorry, I've forgotten how to spell Vim. Yeah, so let's do this. We're going to type in a word. Let's type the word Python, right? So, okay. All right, so Python. Right. So how many have typed in the word Python? Okay, so you were really faster than me, right? Because I had to do a lot of things. So let's copy and paste it one time, right? So, ready? Go. Okay. How many did that before me? Be honest. I'm going to beat you at some point, anyway. so how many did that before me? Okay. So let's do that 10 times. Paste it 10 times. So how many did that before me? Okay. Let's do that 1,000,000 times. Yeah, so that's this. How many did that before me? Aha, nobody. I told you. So now, this is the power of Vim. When you're doing something that is just once or just doing it, you may not have the performance you need. But when it's something that needs to do with speed or repetition, then you begin to see the advantage of Vim. So, yes, more Vim, yay. So that's the copy and paste challenge, and obviously Vim won. So now let's look at moving to arbitrary parts of your text. So you may have these huge texts you're writing, maybe it's code or maybe it's your thesis or whatever, and you need to move to specific points in your text, in your document. Now, there is a find key or a find functionality in many text editors, but with Vim, search is almost native to Vim. So if we look back at this, we may say, okay, we want to go to line 500, right? Now, line 500, in some text, you say go to line, right? So in this case, we just say the column, and then 500, right? So that takes us to line 500 immediately, without us having to scroll up and down, right? So you can know exactly where your text is, and just go straight to where that text is. So I'm saying this to elaborate some of the, or highlight some of the advantages of Vim over the normal way we do things. Because, like I said, if you want to create a masterpiece, you really need to have control on a good understanding of your device. So let's see. Because of time, I'm just going to go straight to, okay, just a minute. Great. So I'm going to move straight to this. Okay, now let's look at formatting your text. Let's look at changing case. So, for instance, if you want to change a portion of your text all to uppercase, right, in one go. And remember, Vim kind of does things in bulk. So in one go, you want to change everything to, let's say, lowercase or uppercase or whatever. It's, okay. For instance, let's say I select this. Let's see. So you can see the highlights here, right? It's highlighted, all that. And I just want to make only what I've highlighted uppercase, right? So we could do something like this, right? So with just 2 clicks, I've made only these uppercase, and the rest are still lowercase. So that's the other side of Vim. So with long typing, and like the previous speaker spoke of, lots of documentation, lots of setup before you start coding, you need to have a tool that can really enable you code really quickly and get things done really fast. Okay, so great. Yeah, so now we have a very powerful command. How many people know about for the Vim users, about the G command? The G command. Okay, so I have something new. Great. Now, the G command is, I think, if not the most powerful command I know of in Vim. It simply says, like, for every line you have a certain condition met, you can perform a certain action on that line. So, for instance, let's see. We want to delete maybe every line that has the word py in it. You want to delete any line that has the word py in it, right? So, for instance, you may be writing your code, and you know, most of the time, like in Python, you have to write it. Python is very sensitive to indentation, so sometimes if you're using your backspace or you're deleting, you don't delete correctly, you may run into problems. So you want to delete in such a way that you have little interaction with your code. So in this case, I'm going to do G. So we have lots of modes in Vim. So that's a G command. Then I would say like py, and I would say D, right? So, okay, just a minute. So, okay. String. Okay, P. Oh, sorry, it's already deleted it. Oh, that was a bit fast. So now it has deleted because almost every line had py in it, right? So it deleted out 1 million lines of code. So I didn't need to do any select all or nothing. I just told it specifically, I'm looking for every word that has this criteria, and I want you to delete that line. And it may be any other function apart from deletion. Okay, so, right, so that's for the G command. So now, the second session, which is the Python side of Vim, is that, you know, how many agree? We all know, I'm not going to ask how many, we all agree that Python is the most powerful language on the planet. Say yes if you agree. Yes. I was almost scared. Like, okay, fine. We all agree. So now if you have this powerful tool and we could mix it with another powerful tool, then we are moving forward in our coding endeavors. So okay. More Vim. Thanks. So before I enter this session, I'm going to look at some of the side effects of typing really long and hard. So for the past 2 years, I've been working on a project called Elon, and it's a framework that I was trying to build to help with automation of for organizations. And for the past 2 years, I've been working on this project. And there's no other way I can get my mind across to the keyboard except using my fingers. Okay, except using my fingers. So I have to type. So that means I'm typing for 2 years. Great. So that means I need to find a way to make my typing experience more effective. I don't just punch at the keyboard. Now that brings me to this image. Right. So what is missing on this keyboard? Okay, because of time, you see my Control and C are missing, right? So Control C is most developers' favorite key combination. Yeah, Control C and Control V. So because of so much typing, I have actually lost Control and C. Yes, that's it. Control and C. In other words, I've lost control over C. So because of a lot of typing, I tried to find a way that I could make my work more automated than just rote typing. So the connection between Vim and Python, first of all, I'll talk about the VimL, or the Vim scripting language. If you've used Python before, you may not like to use VimL because it's very cryptic, it's very low level. But we are fortunate to have Python. The commands we use to link Python with Vim is py or py3, and then you pass your arguments to it. So what happens is Vim would give every line of your text or your document over to Python and perform whatever Python code you've written, and then send the result back. So, for instance, you can do py3 print hello world, and then it will print hello world. Now, if you have a lot of formatting or more complex things to do, you can actually write an entire script, and you say py file or py3 file, then you pass the file name. And then, like I said, it will do the same thing. So for instance, you can say you want to format maybe a JSON or something. You could pass everything to a formatter, and then it formats and brings back the result. So the module to import when you're in Python, under the Python side, is you say from Vim import everything. And there are very few objects, so it's safe. So one of the most powerful objects is the current object. And the current object contains the current line you are on in Vim, and also the buffer of the entire document you are working with. So let's look at a short case study. So we have this document which was in CSV. And for the data scientists in the house, you know when you get your data, you have to clean the data, right? So there are many, you obviously have to write Python scripts. So you could clean your data using just Python scripts. But, I mean, you're already in Vim, and you have access to Python through Vim, so it gives you a shortcut. So if you have, let's say, 5 or 10 lines of code, of document or CSV, and you want to format it into JSON where you have key value pairs, it becomes an issue, right? Because you cannot really do that by hand, and you have thousands of lines to do this. So you could do it by hand using macros, and because of that, I'm not going to talk about macros. Or you could do that using the command I showed. So you put your cleaner in Python, and then use py3 file to call that. And then that does that for you. Okay, so just quickly, I'm going to try and see if, all right. Okay. So, sorry. All right, so let me. All right, so let me do this. All right, let's see. Okay, just a minute. All right, so, okay, so in here we have this folder. Yes. So we have this folder of, this is just basically a CSV file. It's very, very huge, right? Now I want to be able to use Vim to make this into JSON, right? By passing through Python. Okay, so like they said, never try live demo on stage. Just expect anything. Okay, so let's try this. So we have Py3 file that's down here, right? And then the name of the script is PyIO, right? So if we try that, oh, great. We already have our first. Okay, great. So if you notice, something has changed. We now have the admission dates, we have the symptoms, and it's more like a dictionary. How many people have noticed that? Great. So with Vim, I've been able to transform, let's see, 55,022 lines of CSV straight into, okay, I had a bug somewhere, so it didn't complete this part, but more than 10,000, okay, lines of CSV into a dictionary. So that's all of this, right? With just a few clicks. I didn't have to really go to Python and then import and have the CSV module and everything to be able to produce this. But from my Vim, I just take my raw CSV, and then let's just have a quick look. I don't know how we're doing on time. So three more minutes, okay. So let me just take a quick look at, okay, so. Okay, it's not really Pythonic, it's just to explain the concept. But this is everything in the Python script that does that. You get? So with the Python side of Vim, there are many potentials that you have. I mean, not my slides. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of potential now. So we can use a natural language processing tool to be able to take all our code, send it and do some AI on it, and bring the result back. That's the opportunity you have with this. And because of time, I should have taken you through the Ultisnips. It's just to create a custom snippet tool for you. For instance, you are dealing with something that requires structure. You could use Ultisnips, which uses the Python side of Vim to create that structure and then bring that into your code. So if you want more information about Ultisnips, you could just read the docs. Yeah, okay, so we'll not look into that. Then, yeah, in conclusion, the Python side of Vim opens a new world of opportunities. It opens new doors to several things you can do with Vim. So, thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah.
Thank you not just for this talk.
Okay.
Thank you not just for this talk, but thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you.
If you'd like to thank Aaron, you can clap him in the usual way. But
Thank you. Thank you.
I think even more importantly, what you could do is maybe speak to Aaron later today or after the conference and find out how you can become involved in this to help put your weight behind it as well, because this is a fantastic thing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aaron.
You're right.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.